welcome back to the Catch-Up. Before we jump into our episode, a special episode, I just had a little note for you. Does this happen to you before, Guru?
Yeah, this has happened a few times, and this is all part of show business, as we call it. Yeah, we've had a couple of dramas today. Do you want to explain? Or?
Yeah, I can explain.
Shit happens. Hit it with
Shit happens. So we went into the NRLW Dragons headquarters down in Wollongong last week, sat down with Bronte Wilson and Bobby Law, two unreal talents that are part of this NRLW side. And we interviewed them, we chatted with them, got to know them a little bit, talked about, I guess, heading into preseason, all that good stuff. We also sat down with Jamie Soward, which you're going to hear in a moment. But we've had some technical issues with the interview with the girls. So unfortunately, I've had to cut that part of the interview. And I wanted to let you all know because I loved the chat that I had with them and I'm quite disappointed about it. But it's just the reality of show business. Like you said, this happens. I'm going to do everything I can to get those girls into the studio and have a really good chat with them. If anything, we can probably dive even deeper if they're in here, but this is what happens.
Yeah, for sure. Shit happens. It's one more set stuff, Kat. One more set. We defend one more set. One more set.
Yeah, I need 6 again and I'll get it. I'll get it right.
Yeah, but shit happens. And look, I listened back to the interview. It was fantastic. The two lovely young ladies there. They are unreal. And we hope to get them into the studio. But sometimes when the quality just isn't good enough, we'd rather put out quality content for you guys than just wheel out whatever we do have. And sometimes this stuff happens. It's the reality of it. But the Sowie chat, one of my OG CBA, Jamie Soward.
And I have to say, he loves Guru.
I love him.
He came up to me, he was like, love your work. Found any opportunity to talk about you as well. But he was a little disappointed that I'd brought him a hat and not an actual jumper, a Rugby League Guru jumper. He really wanted
me about
one.
It too, the cheeky bastard. Absolutely love that. But yeah, a great chat here with Sowie, and obviously, he's coaching the NRLW Dragons side. And I think that the big thing I took from this chat, Kat, is, and I get reminded every time I talk with Sowie, just the experiences he's had and the people he's dealt with throughout his career has been unbelievable.
Unbelievable. His coaching style is influenced by so many different coaches because he's worked with so many of them. I obviously want to thank Classic Sportswear for giving us the opportunity to go in and chat with the girls. One thing I just do want to highlight is that Classic Sportswear have created uniforms that are different to the men. And that is because women have different bodies, they have different needs. And it was something that we spoke about in the chat with the girls that you obviously aren't going to hear today, but it's just something that I think is really cool that Classic have done, and it's worth talking about.
I honestly, I feel like an idiot now for saying it. I had never even considered that. Never even thought about it.
Yeah,
but it makes so much sense.
Exactly. Even the need for red shorts instead of white shorts. It's things that you don't think about if you're not a female, and
100%.
It's just the reality of being an athlete in that space, and it's a change that we're seeing, and it's really positive, and it's something that Classic are all about. And for that reason, the girls love wearing their kits. They're really happy in them. They're really comfortable in them, and it's one less thing they have to think about when they're out on the field.
Fantastic, unreal. So shout out to Classic, doing great things, and Classic Sportswear have been doing great things in rugby league since I can remember. Ever since I was a kid, just iconic in rugby league. You go back to some of the, the great Kangaroos jerseys and whatnot, some of the all-time best. So yeah, shout out to Classic. We've got Sowie coming up.
We do. Enjoy it, guys. We had a lot of fun chatting, and as always, I am a little sorry about the technical difficulties here, but there's so much to take out of this conversation, so I hope you enjoy it.
Sowell, let's do it, baby.
Jamie Soward, the coach of the NRLW Dragons. Thank you so much for sitting down with us.
No worries.
You're in the midst of pre-season. Talk to us about how it's all going.
It's going great. We've got another young squad, an exciting squad sprinkled with a little bit of experience. I think last year people probably looked at our side and there was a lot of unknowns, but off the back of what our pathways have done with the Steelers, and a lot of those girls played in Origin, they're starting to get some of those names. Plus, the girls that played last year, we got a good core group back. So it's never long enough. We've only got a couple of sessions or a couple of weeks left before we play. So I think, I'd like longer, but we're going really well.
That's awesome. We just spoke to Bronte and Bobby, and we said, what is it like to be coached by you? And they're raving about you. I mean, I should probably have made a joke there, but the reality is they think that you're absolutely awesome. And I think one standout thing about you is your passion for the women's game. Where did that come from for you?
I've always loved rugby league, and probably towards the back end of my career, I got asked about coaching, and I didn't really want to coach. I wanted to experience life, and if I was ever, because back then it wasn't women's rugby league, it was just men's, and I wanted to know what it was like for a dad that hadn't slept that night to come to training, and experience what that's like, so that I know how they felt. So sort of fast forward to COVID, and I was in the media, and got into the coaching role. Well, I got asked to be the women's coach by Ben and Hook, and never really thought about it at all. But I knew I wanted to coach, so I jumped into it. And the first thing I said was, I don't coach women, I coach rugby league. So that can be taken two ways. My personality was always emotion, charge, competitor on field, off field, maybe a bit prickly at times. Then I had my wife, very successful in her industry and what she does in the corporate world, and she opened me up to a new side of things of life, and that softened me up a little bit. And then I had two beautiful girls. So, Indiana and Ivy, the way that they light up when they see that I'm the coach, makes that side of life, make this side of life really good. So getting into the women's space and being passionate about it is not just about me. I don't do it for me, I do it for them, to experience some of the highs, some of the lows. This year's new, we're going to be dropping girls to reserve grade and to go back and work on your craft. So you combine that all together, and the passion comes from, that's my character. The enjoyment is being able to see girls work on their craft, and the love is because of my family.
That's just a beautiful answer, and I like what you said about it not being about coaching women, it's about coaching rugby league players. And all you need to do is watch 2 minutes of them play to understand that they are just rugby league players. They're out there, they're as good as the men in their own right, and they're playing their best footy. And I think we're seeing so much momentum in women's sport in general. You look at the Matildas and you look at the women's state of origin, and the way that the momentum around both of those events have changed, and just the vernacular with women's sport. But as someone who played the men's game and coaches the women's game, can you give us one or two big differences that you see in the two, and where there are areas for improvement?
I think areas for improvement are, from a coach's point of view, I think the scheduling around the NRL from the top, working out how we can make them semi-full-time, not just part-time. You heard Bobby, and she's an experienced campaigner now, and she's still working full-time. So I think scheduling is a huge difference. A lot of these girls work full-time. We encourage it.
They come to training in their high vis after work.
Yep. So they're all on their own journey, and that's how I started Jersey Flag and stuff like that. But I think the difference is around definitely the scheduling. The girls understand where it is at the moment, that of course we want millions of eyes and millions of dollars to be coming in to be able to make them full-time, but they understand that and they're grateful for it. In terms of the skill capacity, I picked up a footy when I was 4. I was playing when I was 4. Lived and breathed it my whole life. So I'm 40 this year. I know I look older, but I'm 40 this year.
You don't look older than 40.
So for 36 years, it's all I've known is footy, and watched it. And, Guru will be watching this. Like, we could sit down and watch the Winfield tape series on VHS, for those of you who don't know.
Right now.
Yeah, I know. So we could, but that's what we've known. For women, a lot of them haven't experienced that. They've played touch or league tag, Oz tag, and then thought, I'm really, really good at that. I'm athletic, I'm strong, I might play league as well. And then they've transferred into, okay, this is how I play, but I can't do what I do on the touch field or the Oz tag field. I need to learn the other aspects of the game. So you're trying to teach all of that in this amount of time. After I've got 36 years of knowledge, and I still don't know it all. Like, I'm still young in my coaching career. So I think the girls listen a lot better. They take you literally, which is not always a good thing.
Do you think where they're at, they're almost slightly more impressionable, but in a positive way? You can really shape their thinking around the game?
Definitely. And you know, it's only my third full season. We had the COVID season with 2-1, and you know, I've been lucky enough to have a lot of talented players. I've never coached a group that is more dedicated to their craft than this younger group, and that comes off the back of, you know, I've got a fantastic coaching staff. You know, Gav's been with me for a couple of years now, but you know, Courtney Crawford was successful with the Steelers, Origin. She was assistant coach, country. Having her presence and a woman's point of view about the learning capacity and what that takes as well, has some heated discussions, challenges me a lot, but bringing her into the fold this year has made all that learning for the players good as well, because I can say, did you understand that, in a footy term where you might just go straight over other players' heads, and we can communicate that. So, but this group's super dedicated to their craft, and it's a special group. It's a really special feel.
You mentioned that they're quite young as well. Is there anyone we should have our eyes on as we head into this season, and anyone that you...
The CBA?
Who is the CBA of the NRLW Dragons?
I'm lucky. I've got a few. Look, I think Casey Ray stamped her authority on why she's the best player in her age group.
Under 19s Origin as well.
Yeah, in Australia at the moment, she's really great person, loves footy. You know, Guru would love her because she's just a footy head. She carries her book everywhere, and she'd be watching tape all the time. So I think Casey Ray's probably a more well-known name around. I've really liked what I've seen from Charlotte Basham in the pre-season. Hard-working back rower. Bronte Wilson, I think, is learning all the time. Only played 10 games of rugby league, but you can see the way that she carries herself. We've got a lot of young girls coming through. I think the next generation here for the Dragons is set up for the next 5 years to be able to bring those girls through. So you combine that with Tegan Berry, who's only 22, 23. We're a young squad. We've got a lot of young players, but yeah, there are a couple that stand out.
Brilliant. Well, we had a gift for you. You might have to switch out your hat.
I love it. I do love it. But what I will say is, I don't want the hat. If I was the original CBA, I wanted a shirt, and I texted him that. I said, if you're not talking shit and I'm the original CBA, I want the shirt. So thank you. I don't want the hat. I want the shirt.
All right, I'll get you a shirt next time. Okay.
I'll leave it on for the rest of it.
Love it. Quick question as well. Obviously, Wayne Bennett's one of the key kind of figures in the men's game that we're talking about. He's making the move from Dolphins to my team, South Sydney Rabbitohs. Talk to us about that relationship and if he's influenced your coaching career at all.
Yeah, I think, I said to Guru, like I've been lucky enough. My first senior coach was Michael Maguire. I had Shane Flanagan in the first 2 years.
You concentrated on him?
Yeah, he shaped me. Flano shaped me into the resilient first grader that I needed to be. Not that I understood at that time, because we won every game that year, but that I would need it to be. I've had Ivan Cleary, I've had Hook, I've had Wayne, I've had Gus. I've had some of the greatest minds. I think with Wayne, I'm totally different to Wayne in terms of intensity and emotion and passion. Wayne's very much a take my time, don't shoot from the hip, which I'm trying to get better at, but his connection to people and understanding people is his gift, plus he knows rugby league. So, I'm probably like a mix between Sticky, Craig Bellamy, but then when my little girls are around, I'm a soft teddy bear. So I don't know. Yeah. Like my style from Wayne, I understand what he was trying to do with me and how he got the best out of me. Yeah. And probably at the time, you don't realise it until you reflect and become a father and do that. So, yeah, he has had an influence, but so have so many other coaches.
Well, you brought up the word passion quite a few times in your answers, whether it's about your relationship with your family, your work, the women's game, just rugby league in general. How do you think that passion, like where did that come from for you? And is there something that has influenced that in what you do?
I want to win. Very determined winner. Yeah. I think the one thing that we're trying to get, and the other NRLW coaches would relate to this, is most of us have had successful careers as a player. We want them to experience that. We want them to experience what it's like to climb the mountain, but also teach them along the way how to handle the ups and downs. The passion comes from, I'll be driving home at 8 o'clock at night and one of the girls will ring me and ask me about, on that play, what should I do here? That's why I do it. I do it for them to be better. And whether I'm here in 10 years or next year or whatever, like, I want them to experience that for themselves so they can go, well, yeah, he was a bit over the top in some of his language and emotion and passion and all that kind of stuff, but he cared. Like, I'll be called a million things for people watching this. Yeah. I'll never ever have someone say that I didn't care about my players. Sometimes I'll care too much and it'll come out the wrong way, but I won't have people say that about me.
I need just one more question on that. When you mentioned the ups and downs, the climbing of the mountain, but the reality that you're not going to get the results that you want every week, how do you maintain that level of passion and care when you don't get the best result? Is it a motivator for you? Yeah,
well, I've lost the grand final my first year as coach. The motivation comes from the group that I have this year. I think that, there's separate, you can break it up into different things and certain situations, but, this group, Ray, Tyler last year, like, Tyler's playing in an Olympics for the third time. Wow. Nothing I ever say to her is ever going to top that moment, but she wants to listen to me about footy. So that passion is reciprocated by females learning, working all day. Our captain's a tradie who works all day and then comes and has to listen to me talk about footy, and she loves it. So that passion drives you. Of course you want to win, and winning's going to dictate whether I'm a good coach or not. But the people that I coach will understand that there's a lot more that goes into that. So, it's a journey that we're all on, and we're going to get things wrong. Hopefully we get things right.
Of course. Now, it goes without saying, how many times do you make the girls watch your NRL highlights, a winning field goal? That's what we want to know.
You won't believe me, but I don't talk about my career. It's not... I can talk about situations that I relate to, being dropped, what it's like to play Origin and then almost get dropped a month later. I can relate to that because it happened. I don't really put my highlights on because it's not about my time, it's about their time.
They might watch the highlights when they go home.
I would love to think that they watch my highlights when they go home, because a couple of times I've had to jump in the skills and they're amazed that I can throw a pass, but I don't do it for that. There would have been a time in my life, like, I probably would have had a bit more ego about it, but when you lose a grand final as a coach and you come home and your daughter reminds you of that every day, but she doesn't care because she just wants to cuddle from dad, it's okay.
See, that puts things in perspective, doesn't it?
It's okay. Yeah. The sun will come up tomorrow. So.
Yeah. Oh, Jamie, thank you so much for chatting. It was really nice. I kind of wish you were my coach.
I've seen the sprays that Guru gives you. His acting's terrible, by the way.
Yeah,
all right?
to be honest, I'm going to give him.
Who's winning Supercoach?
Well, I beat him this weekend, and that's all that matters. You're only as good as your last game. That's what I say.
You're going to have to do a joint podcast at the end of the year.
Oh, please. That would be amazing. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you.